and Hayden. They're best friends. They've just completed high school, and Hazel realizes that she has feelings for Hayden, and she decides to confess to him, even though she's obviously really nervous. She's apprehensive about it, but she goes ahead and she does it anyways. And then there are certain situations that take place in the book that kind of develop a sense of hurt and anger for Hazel, um, because of Hayden. Uh, and and then one snowy Christmas Eve, just unexpectedly, he seems to re-enter her life, and then the story continues from there, and it's kind of like a journey of discovery for both of the characters.
So, with White Christmas, like I know it's very magical time and everything, but what significance was it to you?
So I had actually written this book during Christmas, during the winter break, my winter break last year. And obviously, it's a time of joy, festivals, celebrations, and it's a really happy time. And obviously, while I was in my winter break, that was all that was happening around me. So I got really inspired by that. And I just thought that the happiness that Christmas brings along with it, I thought that it would add a more happiness element to my story, and it would give it a certain unique aura. So I just thought that rather than having a simple plot, if I had Christmas as the main theme of my story, it would just make it more exciting, a bit more
More
unique. So
magical.
yeah, more magical. Yeah, especially because it's kind of like a love story. I just thought it would make it more cute. So that's why Christmas.
That's cute. So, can you tell us a little bit about your characters, Hazel and Hayden?
Yeah, so there are main characters, Hazel and Hayden. However, the story follows Hazel's perspective, so it's Hazel's point of view. And I feel like Hazel somewhat possesses the qualities like me. She's very, really emotional, but at the same time, she's also really thoughtful. And throughout the book, you see her make gutsy and spontaneous decisions. So that makes her kind of exciting as well. And then Hayden, on the other hand, he's an academically intelligent boy. He's also really patient that you get to see through the book. And he also has a sensitive side, but it's just that he just doesn't portray it that often. So these are the certain characteristics that our main characters have. And then besides that, you also have their families playing the role of side characters in the story. So yeah.
And what's your process like when you're building these characters? Do you obviously you said like Hazel isn't has some of your traits, but what about the rest of them? Do you start from scratch or is it inspired by people you know and you just draw inspiration?
No, so for me, because this book is relatively shorter than other general novels, I didn't get to dive as deep into the character building process as an author usually would. But for me, it's just that the characters built as the story progressed. So obviously, before I started writing, in my head, I had an outline of how I wanted the characters to be, what kind of characteristics I wanted them to have. But at the same time, I wanted to give myself the liberty to discover the characters as I wrote. That way, I also got to learn more about the characters. So I don't have like a set concrete plan for writing the characters. It's just that I know the characteristics that they have. And then I just think that if they were in this situation, how would they tackle it? So I think that's just how it worked for me.
And how long have you been writing?
I've been writing for a long time, like for a few years. It's just that I never took it that seriously. I wrote it for fun. But as I've been reading more and more, I just thought that I should also try writing my own story because, when I read books, I hold them and I'm like, it would be fun to see my own name being published on a book. So that's when I decided to take it seriously. And then, yeah, it just happened and the rest of it.
Okay, so I'm going to touch back on what you spoke about earlier. You said that this is a relatively a shorter story compared to what most authors do. So is that something you would look into in the future to write like a novel or something longer than
Exactly.
this?
Yeah, I just felt like because this was my first ever writing project that I was taking seriously and I had ambitions for it, I didn't want to start being over ambitious. I didn't think I was capable, so I wanted to start off with something shorter, and I just felt like it would these small baby steps would eventually lead me to writing a novel in the future. So this is like just the first step in writing a novel, so that's why I didn't want to be over ambitious, and I just sticked with something simpler for the beginning. Yeah.
That worked out well.
Yeah. It
So
did.
are you working on anything at the moment?
I am. It's in the process, but I don't think so. I want to give too much away. But I would say that it's something really different, but it's also meaningful.
Okay, so let's go back to the Christmas theme. Like, w- what's your favorite Christmas tradition? Let's just stick to
I
the
don't
Christmas theme.
personally celebrate Christmas, but I live in a place where there's so much diversity that you kind of feel like you are also part of the Christmas celebrations, even though, you know, I don't celebrate it. But I just like the fact that during Christmas it's a time for reunion for everyone. You know, all families, like no matter wherever you are around the world, you kind of get together for this occasion and you get to spend quality time with your friends, your family. So I just think that that's one thing I really like about Christmas, and then that's why I think it makes it more special. So yeah,
That's lovely. That's the beauty of Christmas.
that is, yeah.
So about short stories, would you continue and even though you did say that you are in the process of writing something bigger, would you continue with the short stories as well? Would you like
I
that?
think, yeah, I wouldn't mind. I think it also depends on how much you can give to the story. Sometimes you have a lot of ideas that you can put in that will eventually lead to a larger novel. But for now, I think that short stories are working for me, and the more I practice and improve on these short stories, I will be more experienced, more capable. I learn more things throughout the process, and then I can use all of that to actually write a big, like an actual novel. But yeah, I feel like they both have their own beauty. I mean, short stories, if a person isn't so interested in reading, they can start off
They
by
do.
reading these short stories and kind of also develop that love for reading. So, and even it works for writing. So, if you're starting off, I think it's a great way to start off with writing short stories at first. Yeah.
That's great. Hazel. This is what was your favorite part of writing this book?
I think the fact that it was Christmas, because it is a love story, I think that's quite generic, and it's also quite common in a lot of stories. A lot of stories follow a love triangle or a love story. But just writing about it in a Christmas backdrop, I think that was fun because it added more touch, and I enjoyed. I myself am a really cheerful person, someone who's really optimistic. So when I see Christmas is also something like that. So it was really fun incorporating that into the book. So kind of balancing both the story and the theme of Christmas. I think that was
Yeah,
really fun to write about. Yeah.
that's lovely. So this is no, what was the toughest part of the writing process?
For me, the toughest part of the writing process was actually having the motivation to write every day. Like in the previous, this has happened that I get a lot of nice ideas to write a story. It's just that sometimes I can't continue with it because I just don't have the motivation. And, obviously, if you're writing, it has to be consistent. The quality can't be altered. It has to be constant. It has to be of good quality. So, getting the motivation to write every day, I think that is one of the toughest part for me. But I gave myself the time as winter break, and I'm like, by the end of the winter break I should be able to finish writing this book, and I was able to do that. So I think it was just because I really wanted to see my book being
Yeah,
published, and
that's yeah,
that's, yeah, what
that's strong motivation.
actually, yeah. So
So do you have any little tips and tricks to navigate through writer's block or a creative block?
I think I think a lot of people think that writing, having a setting a writing goal is important, but I would contradict that opinion and say that it's not necessary to set yourself a writing goal, because if you set yourself a writing goal, you may be in the pressure to write even if you don't have that motivation. So I just feel like even if it's a page or a paragraph or just a few sentences, write every day, so that you are in that momentum and you find that time to just
In
write
the
a
flow,
little.
yeah.
Yeah, so that, and at the same time you're making sure that the quality of what you're writing is not being altered, like you're maintaining the quality and the quantity is also coming in every day. So just don't pressurize yourself, do it because you enjoy it. I think that's what it is, and if you enjoy it, then I think the results can be shown in the story as well. So yeah, that's
I'm sure that definitely reflects on the story. And this is my last question to you. So, do you have any tips for young writers or writers who are just starting out?
I think it's to enjoy the process and to stop comparing your work with others. I think that's also like, I myself am relatively young for actually writing a story, I feel like, but it's something that I found myself doing too. I'd compare my story to others, and then, I don't think so that's the right thing to do, because everyone has different um talents. Even when it comes to writing, they have their own strengths. So comparing your work to others will just make you feel negative, maybe because you may feel insecure about certain
True.
things. So don't compare yourself to others. Do it because you like it. And if you're really ambitious enough, then I think you can do it. I think it's as simple as that. Just don't give up. Don't let anyone's opinions bother you, because if you really want to do it, then you would. So I think that, don't compare your work to others, because your work is going to be different. It's going to have another strength that some other people may not have. So just be confident in your work. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much, Madhya. Thank you so much for being with us here, giving us your time. That was some really good advice. And
Thank
for everyone watching or streaming this live, or if you're watching this later on YouTube or Instagram, Madhya's book link is going to be in the description box so that y'all can purchase it. And once again, Madhya, thank you so much for being on here with
Thank
us. It was
you.
lovely to
Thank you
speak
so
to
much
you.
for your time and patience. And also thank you to Yukioto Publishing. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't be able to, have my book published. So I'm really fortunate to be able to work with Yukioto. So just thank you so much to you, Rikiana,
Thank
and to
you.
Yukioto Publishing. So thank you.
We're looking forward to working with you in the future.
Here. So am I. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.